right, let's talk about shutters. What are shutters? Well, shutters are paneled window coverings that open and close like a panel, kind of like your cabinet doors. And they have louvers that can open and close for privacy and light control. Now, when we're talking about shutters, the first thing that we have to determine is what frame to use in your windows. So let's come and take a look at the frames. There's lots of different frame options, and it will all depend on how much window depth you have, whether you have trim already, or if you have window depth where you need to mount your frames on the outside of your window casing. So here are the different frame options that we have. The next thing that we will have to determine is the color, because you have to match your shutters to your window trim. You have to coordinate it with your wall colors, your furniture. So these are different options that we have as far as painted and stained colors. The next thing we have to determine after that is what size you want your slats or your louvers. So let's come take a look. Right here we have the 1 7/8" slats. These are our smallest available slats for shutters. The next step up would be the 2.5" louvers or slats. Next, 3". Here we have the 3.5" louver size. And lastly, the largest size that we offer is 4.5". Louver size just depends on the size of your window, how much view you want to see out through your louvers or your slats, and really it just comes down to what slat size is proportional to your window size. The next options, the next control options that we're going to discuss are invisible tilt, where you touch one louver and they all move up and down. The next is your standard center tilt. This tilt rod is a more traditional look for shutters, and a lot of people that have more traditional homes prefer this option. And then lastly, something kind of in between is your offset tilt rod. It's a little bit more modern, but people that would prefer to operate their shutters with a tilt bar instead of just using the louvers to move them up and down, that's another option. Now, shutters can also be motorized. So let's come and take a look at the shutter here. Long way around. These shutters can be open and closed and tilted at any point that you want with the dial. And these are the only window covering that can be actually operated with both remote and manually. So you saw I just operated this with this remote. I can also move these louvers manually, and this does not hurt the shutter. So if you lose battery power, you can still operate your shutter and have complete control over it. These motorized shutters have a battery that is trickle charged with a solar panel in the styles of the shutters. If you do run out of charge with these shutters, let's say you have a like a north-facing window and this solar panel doesn't get enough light to keep this trickle charged, there is a port underneath here. And you plug a USB-C cord, actually, yes. You actually plug a micro USB cord here and lead it to the nearest outlet. So I've just moved these around Now let's say your kids or your guests have moved these manually and now you want to take control over your shutters like you normally do. You simply, if you want full privacy, push the home button and that'll reset your shutters. And then once it gets to the home position, you can set it to any position that you want.